Hello, I'm Sangeeta.
And I'm Giles, and we are the Greenhouse Duo. And we're launching this new podcast where we'll be holding conversations with people who are finding creative ways to respond to the challenges of climate change. We call them legacy makers, people who are shaping the future by living it today. And so Sangeeta, our first guest, is somebody that you interviewed for your recently published book and who himself is launching a new project.
That's right, Giles. I'm absolutely delighted and thrilled to be able to introduce you to Ingmar Rentzhog, who I would also call a close ally. He's one of Sweden's top sustainability voices. He's a Forbes contributor. He co-founded We Don't Have Time, one of the world's largest platforms for climate action. And we're going to be speaking to Ingmar about his very timely and relevant campaign called, wait for it, Make Science Great Again.
Very topical. So great. Let's get into the conversation.
So, Ingmar, tell us about this very intriguing Make Science Great Again. What's the big idea behind it?
We are in big trouble, I will say. If we can kind of frame your question a little bit around why things are not happening faster when it comes to climate action. We actually have more than 80% of the global population, according to a big UN study, support that they want stronger climate action from their leaders. So I think the main question that I need to explain before I talk about why we need to make science great again. The main question, why are we not acting more and faster in regards to the climate crisis when 80% of the global population wants to do this? The reason for that is that there is some very powerful special interest that wants to not exit the fossil fuel powered economy because they are themselves dependent on it. They will lose power if that will happen. And instead of changing, they hold on and try to resist. Those special interests, they have enormous resources on their hand, and they use that to communicate so that we are not changing. Instead, they have tried everything in the playbook to delay change as long as possible. They started with denying the problem, that this is not a problem, the planet is not heating up, it's just made up. That worked for a while, but it really doesn't work today because most people, if they open the window, they'll see that the climate actually are changing. They will feel the floods, they will see the forest fires, and they see that it used to be snow. So most people can experience that climate are changing firsthand. So denying that is kind of non-working strategy. So what they have been trying to do lately is to delay. They want to delay all the change. They say that, oh, it doesn't matter that much. It will cost us too much money to do the transition. We will have all the time on our hand. We can do this later. It's cheaper to do later, etc. That has worked for a while, but it really doesn't work today because the speed of the green transition in the economy is happening exponentially. It's not happening slow. They try to get as many people as possible to believe that action are happening slow, but that is not true. And it's also cracking. So what they're now throwing us is the last stage of resistance, and that's cancel the science itself, cancel the fact, cancel the truth, and twist that into something else. And now this battle is suddenly not only about climate action or not. It's about the foundation for building a future for humanity. It's about using science for our society. So what we try to do with Make Science Great Again, we want to rally support to get as many people as possible on board, either to support it financially by giving a donation so we have the resources, we need resources, but also to give their time if they want to volunteer. We invite everyone to join to this call to action. There is so many science organizations, so many NGOs, so many activists. We can't afford resist alone. We need to do it together. And that's the call to action, Make Scientists Great Again. And we're actually stealing, the narrative. It works. Make America Great Again works. So we are taking that and we are weaponizing against those that try to cancel the science. So we're using communication power for good. And we need to turn that into something that works for humanity, not only for the people believing in what they think will be good for them alone. And I must also say that this is not a campaign against Donald Trump. It's a campaign that is pro-science, that is protecting science, that is defending science. And many crazy things are happening in the United States currently, but they're not alone in this. There is many examples in Europe and elsewhere where science are under attack as well.
So Ingmar, I hear you. The fossil fuel companies and the powers that be originally denied, as you said, then they kind of delayed, and now they're kind of dismissing. Who are the people that are going to be involved in Make Science Great Again in your project? Is it going to be just scientists, or is it going to be other organizations, and is it the general public as well? So who's involved in this project that you're going to be launching?
We want everyone that cares about the future to be involved, but the take we have and the platform we are providing is that we are a communication platform. We are actually the world's largest media platform for climate action. With our time platform, we reach monthly nearly 200 million on social media. So we have a great outreach. So there's a great number of people working in science. It's a great number of people applying science, using that for good. And it's a lot of people embracing it and doing things with it. What we are providing is a help to communicate that. So we are providing our infrastructure, our platform, to help communicate, share the stories wherever science are cancelled. So that we can defend it. I can give you one example where this is unfortunately it's very needed. Last week, there's a observatory in the world, in Hawaii, Mauna Loa, that every day, the last 60 years, are measuring carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere. They have been doing this every single day. So we have an unbroken data series. And last week, we were, for the very first time, above 450 ppm of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. That's extremely alarming. It's much higher than scientists have protected. So this data is something that we really need, and we don't fully understand it. And that's something that are also very concerning. So what are the new US government doing with this alarming data? They try to silence it. Instead of acting, they try to actually shut down this observatory doing the measurement. So by ending the lease of the land that where they had the observatory on. And it's not that easy to move it somewhere else because we will lose the data series. It's harder to compare. You can't compare that. That's what they want. So they want to cancel this, but this hasn't happened yet. So by defending, we need to share stories about those things that are threatened before they are played out. Because if millions of people are raising their voice to protect this, not even the Trump administration will have the political power to shut it down. And if they do, they will create a reversed effect where people suddenly, billions of people will know this alarming number, 440 people. So that's where you can do something really important by defending science. But it's not only defending science we need to do. We also need to amplify science that can help us create the future we need. We need science more than ever to create resilience, to help us grow food in a future where it's much harder to grow food, etc. We also need all the solutions to handle the climate crisis, cool the planet, etc. There is tons of solutions that can help us build a much better society. So, and the problem with this is that it's not that someone tried to silence those solutions. The problem is that the ones that knows those solutions are not good communicators. That's not what they're skilled on. So we as a media communication platform helps them to get to the policymakers, to get to media, to get to the broader mass to know about those solutions and support them. Because if they don't know about them, you will not see any regulation that will help them scale. So people need to know that we have the solutions to solve a lot of problems we have out there. We can't only focus on the problem. So we need to amplify science. And last, we also need to have dialogues with companies, with politicians that are, on one hand, embracing science, saying that we need to act on this. We need to follow the science. But on another hand, they don't do that. One thing I would love to do in Make Science Great Again is to invite oil companies executives. And I want to ask them, not about that, that we disagree on the pace of acting around the climate crisis, because that we probably do. But I want to ask them about something I think they will agree on. And that's, do they really believe it's a good idea to turn off the observatory giving us the data around carbon dioxide in the atmosphere? I don't think so. So that's what we want to do with this campaign. So, and we want everyone to join in to help us do it. But also, if you're skilled in communication, if you're skilled of getting people to do things, you're welcome to volunteer by your time. It's not that we're looking for science to do research. Instead, we are going to give our time and resources to help them to communicate in a much more efficient way. And that can also be to actually train scientists to communicate in a better way. Let's media train them. Let's make them not only good doing science, but good communicating science. Some are very good at communicating, but they don't have the time to do it. So let us do it. They can send us a raw text and we can, edit that so it's more easy to digest from a policymaker that don't really understand the details into that science, etc.
Okay.
Ingmar, really interesting, and it's about empowering scientists. I think we have this notion that scientists are already empowered, but you're right, they're not all are good at communicating. One of the things I wanted to ask you, and you and I have played around with this question previously, what kind of pushback do you think you'll get from the fossil fuel companies? How do you think they're going to take to this initiative?
They will not like it. Probably they will be the first ones understanding that this will be something they want to stop. But if that stop us, who will do it? I mean, they only have power over us if we think they have the power and give them the power. If we show that we are the many and they are the few, they will not be able to resist this. But I expect some friction. But that's why it's so important to rally support, not for all the details, not for everything that's needed to be done, but for the foundation of our civilization, that we need to listen and use science, even if we disagree on exactly how we use science, we still must acknowledge the facts around it. And that's why I think that most people don't buy into an agenda where we actually are denying the facts and the science itself. But it seems like that, because the way you see the world right now is that it's happening a lot of crazy things, and people are just staying low. So what really makes me hopeful is what happened just a few days ago, where you saw the Harvard University
Yeah.
standing up. But it was many universities before them that didn't say a thing. And when you have a few doing it, that will not create a change. But if you give the ones that have the courage to step up and give them the world stage, so that more people knows about it, but not only knowing about that Harvard are stepping up, but also why, and contextualize that, so that more people will have the courage to step up, and you suddenly get a resistance from many universities. That's what we need to create.
So Ingmar, I read a few days ago about Mr. Musk, Elon Musk, and he had used his AI tool to generate what they claimed to be real climate science, which was dismissing climate change. What happens when they claim, the climate science that you're talking about is fake climate science, and we have the real climate science? How can you address the disinformation that may well come, and the sort of the attempt to dismiss some climate science and say other climate science is real?
I mean, that's not a new thing. That's part of the deny playbook. Kind of, let's have a debate if climate is changing or not. I'm not so afraid of that. And if that had worked, we will not have seen the attack where they try to shut down the real science. Because you can create a lot of confusion between fake science and more robust science. But it will not flip the power on your side. It will confuse, it will get people confused. People will not really understand what's going on, but people that are highly educated will not fall for it. So that's why we now see that they try to shut down scientific organization and science data. So if this information will have worked perfectly, they will not see themselves needing to shut down science. So yes, we need to fight the disinformation, but I'm not so afraid of AI there, actually, because my own experience with AI is that yes, you can use AI for creating a lot of untrue photographs, and it's easy to get people believe that it's hundreds of people with opinions writing things when it's just bot and trolls. But if you train a big LLM model with a big data set, my experience when I tested Grok, that is Elon Musk AI, Chinese AI, ChatGPT, etc., that they are not really, they're good, they're bad at lying. I mean, sometimes they hallucinate, but they do that badly. But they're very bad at saying that, gravity don't exist, because they have the data. If they are trained on a big data set, they will not say that real data is false. And I actually use Grok a lot to test things I do. And Grok is much more critics against what I do compared to ChatGPT, but it's not pro Donald Musk or pro Trump. It's actually very pro science. So we need to fight disinformation, but my biggest worry is that the real battle is not about winning what's real information or not. It's actually that they are so afraid of the real truth, because even if you're good at disinformation, the only way to stop the real truth, the real fact, the real science is to kill it. And that can happen. It's happening already. And that we need to defend and stop. I
Ingmar,
think we will fight disinformation by keeping real science and amplify that voice. I don't think we need to shut down the disinformation. We just need to keep the truth bigger.
yeah. So Ingmar, does the platform, your platform, which is the world's largest media platform, We Don't Have Time, is that going to be playing a part in this?
Yes, of course. That's what we use to do this, to amplify this Make Science Great campaign. But it's not that the platform we have is not replacing other media. It's a network of other media. So we are also using other media channels to amplify and get our message out to those that not on our platform, but are getting their news from other platforms.
And just explain to those who haven't heard about We Don't Have Time, what is it? What does it do?
It's a digital platform where we gather people acting on the climate. So we have 120,000 leaders using our platform. It's everything from journalists, from policymakers, people in government, scientists, business leaders, investors, activists, youth activists, etc. They're using our platform to reach out and communicate to others, so that they can they can post about what they do good. If they see someone that have a solution, they can share that, and we amplify that to a lot of platforms outside our own. And if they see someone that doing something bad, the same thing happens. So our job is that we have created an infrastructure where anyone can have the power to spotlight what's been doing good and what's been doing bad. So we are using this platform, this network that we have built in 8 years. We were actually founded when Donald Trump won the US election in 2016. That was the tipping point for me when I realized that our world leaders will never solve the climate crisis for us. And we have the solutions, we know the problem, but there's a lack of good communication. And my background is that I've been working with communication my whole career. I was running an investor relation firm for more than 15 years in the Nordic, helping all the big banks and all the insurance companies active in the Nordic market, not all, but many, most of them, to communicate. And when you communicate to investors, it's not about saying that something is better than it is. It's about building trust. You need to say what you're good at, but you also need to say what you're bad at to build that trust. So I'm taking all the lessons and learnings from that and applying it to sustainability and the climate. And now we are applying it to all science, because this is not only about climate science. The attack on science is about everything. It's about health. It's about everything. If you start to shut down science, it will not only end with one part of science, it will end with everything. And we, civilization, we have had a dark age before. It took hundreds of years until we started to use science to build our society again. I mean, if you go way back in history, you have cities like Babylon that were very sophisticated, but it didn't last because we stopped using the science.
Very true. Yes, we don't want to go back to the Dark Ages. Well, Ingmar, thank you so much for talking to us. We have one final question for you. If you were the leader of your country, what's the one thing that you would do to tackle the climate crisis?
It is not easy to lead in our critical time we are now. If you do it in a way that where you push things too hard without getting public support, it will not be sustainable, etc. So we really need smart way of leading a country. And I think that what I will address, it's many things that you need to address. But the first thing you said is actually to level out the fossil fuel subsidies. Because in most countries, or maybe all countries, the governments are spending money to keep fossil fuel, energy, etc., lower price, so that the citizens will afford living. It's very hard to get rid of those subsidies because they are built in the system. Globally, we're talking about $7 trillion. That's 7% of all the money in the world. And many politicians, they are talking in climate conferences, including the Swedish environment minister, saying that we need to get rid of those subsidies. But what their own governments are doing is increasing the subsidies, not decreasing. So how can we get rid of those subsidies? I think we need to get rid of them by increasing the other subsidies. If we're subsidizing fossil fuel, let's subsidize the clean energy more, so that we level them out. And when we have done that, no one will use the fossil fuel anymore, so we will automatically outphase the fossil fuel subsidies. This will cost some money, yes, but not doing it will cost more because the damage in the economy will be huge if we don't act on this. And it will also stimulate entrepreneurship, it will stimulate things in the economy where we're creating more winners than losers. Many times when climate policies are implemented in a way that will meet a lot of resistance is that it is implemented where it creates more losers than winners. And that's not needed to be done. So I will address the subsidies by leveling them out. So the first thing is to do what's needed to be done. The second thing is to hire the most skilled communicators in the world to explain why this is good and spend the resources that needs to be spent on good communication. That is something the fossil fuel industry understand. They spend billions on bad communication. Or good communication doing bad. We need to spend billions on good communication doing and applying science.
100% agree. We've not been strategic enough in the green movement.
It's about it's also about resources. I think we have been quite strategic, very creative, but without resources. I mean, look at the Heritage Foundation. They have it's crazy amount of money we're up against, and I don't think we need all that money. We maybe just need a tenth of that money, but we will not make it on 1,000 part of that money.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Ingmar, for your insightful comments. And yeah, the project that you've launched, it sounds fascinating, and we wish you all
Yes,
the best with it.
if you want to know more about this project and get involved, you can go to wedon'thavetime.org/make science great again.
So, Sangeeta, we've spoken to Ingmar. What was your one takeaway from that?
Well, one, he knows so much. He really knows his subject. And I think the other key thing is that Make Science Great Again is not a sort of Trump campaign, but it's about making all science relevant and great again. And it's about creating this era of truth, which we seem to have lost. So Giles, tell me, what was your one takeaway?
I guess for me, I liked his comments about disinformation, and we don't want to go back to the Dark Ages. And he mentioned Babylon, a place I've actually been to, because Babylon, Baghdad, these were great centers of learning many years ago. And then they went, you know, the learning, the knowledge, the schools, they got lost, and I liked the way he made that comparison. So we really have to be careful. And yes, I liked that he said he's not scared of AI. He's not scared of disinformation. All we need to do is produce credible science, and that will defeat the disinformation. So that was hopeful.
And on that note, if you enjoyed our first podcast, you can follow or subscribe because we will be speaking to other legacy makers. So join us for next time.